Thank you for watching our webinar recording from the series Making Home Learning Content Accessible in Early Learning and Childcare. The demo materials that are included in these webinars will give you some ideas for some free online resources that exist. However, when planning learning activities, you'll be including a variety of learning activities that are off-screen and away from devices as well, including health and well-being and outdoor learning activities. Okay, so the purpose of the webinar today is to explore Padlet and how that can be used to help us to communicate with our families and our young learners when they're not coming in to the buildings or into our settings, and we're not having that face-to-face contact, and we're not able to have all those important conversations and make our observations and share information the way that we can face-to-face. And it's a wee bit different for us at the early level because our youngest learners aren't signing on to Glow. They're not managing passwords and independently logging in by themselves. So we need to look for other solutions that are out there that we can possibly trial, we can use to try and bridge that gap. And Padlet could be one of those tools. So what Padlet is a communication board. It's a bit like a bulletin board. Think of it that way. It's a bit in between a document and it's a bit in between a website, but I like to think of it as a great big bulletin board, and it allows everybody to add content and communicate in a way that they want. It gives various different ways to communicate. It might be a voice recording, it might be a whiteboard drawing picture, it could be a file, it could be a web link. There's various different ways to have your voice heard, so to hear the child's voice coming through no matter what your topic is. But one thing that you must check is if you can use this in your local authority. Okay, so like any other third-party apps, anything at all, we need to find out from our local authorities if it's GDPR compliant. Okay, so if there has been a data protection impact assessment done on that particular tool, app or piece of software. But the purpose of the Padlet that we're going to focus on today is not for pupils to be creating Padlets or learners to be creating Padlets. It's for practitioners to create Padlets and offer it as an open communication space for our families and our children to be able to share their thoughts, feelings and opinions. So I think without any further ado, we will just go and have a wee look at exactly what it looks like. Okay, now how do you get into Padlet? Okay, you can go to padlet.com, or if you are a Glow user, you can access it through Microsoft Office 365. So once you're in Glow and you open up Microsoft Office 365, and if you open up all apps, you then have a list of other apps that sit outside the Office 365 family. So you'll have apps in there like ThingLink that we looked at yesterday, apps like Wakelet, and of course in here as well as Padlet. Just give it a wee minute to load up. And what's really quite nice about Padlet, and I'll just open this one up as a wee example first, is it's a really inclusive environment. So most of our early level learners aren't reading and writing yet. So how do they normally share their thoughts and opinions? Well, they might do it verbally, they might do it through speech, or they might do it through mark making. They might do it through the medium of dance. There's all different ways that they make themselves heard. So we need to look for something that allows that. And on this example here, we've set up a board, a bulletin board if you like, and the practitioner it's in relation to the Aliens Love Underpants story, and the practitioner is asking, so how do the aliens measure those underpants? And then a link is shared with the families, and it's not a public link, so not anybody in the whole world could access this, but only the families with the link. And it would be shared however you normally communicate at the moment with your parents, whether It's via email. You might have a group call email system. You might be emailing them individually. You might already have a blog or some social media platform, a private group or something that you share your messages. If you are contacting, communicating with parents and carers through post, if it's not online, there's also the opportunity to share a QR code to the Padlet as well, so then they don't need to copy and try and retype a big long link. They can use a QR code if they have a smart device to access it. So anyway, let's have a wee look at the different types of media that has been uploaded to allow these imaginary children, because of course this is just a board that I have made up and joined a few different times. So how do aliens measure underpants? Okay, so the first response we've got here, we've got a drawing. Somebody has uploaded a whiteboard drawing, and then the parent and carer has typed in a little description there for them. Now you'll notice that it's an anonymous response, so this isn't tracking any names, it's anonymous responses only. But if you wish, parents and carers could type in either the initials or just the first name. So that way we're not capturing any data, there's nothing else going in there apart from the first name. And then the second response here, let's see what this one is. The aliens all try to fit inside the underpants. Okay, so we have a voice recording here, so it's not stuck on just a certain type of reply. So this one has a voice recording. And then the next one here, we've got a family that shared a link. So they've told us that they've been listening to some spaceship sound effects when they've been building their spaceships at home. And then they've copied and pasted the link. If you click on that, it then takes you to that website that they were speaking about. Then let's go further down a wee bit. Okay, what have we got here? Let's click on this one. We'll make it full screen so we can see it a wee bit better. This one is a screen recording because it also allows you to record your screen. I'm going to build my spaceship. I need a 10 counting rod. And then I need a 9 counting rod. We'll just stop that one there. And then a website called MathSpot, which lets you work with familiar manipulatives like the Cuisenaire rods. Okay, so that one was a screen recording. And then at this point, the memory staffs came back in and says, thanks for sharing. Let's use our imagination and pretend that we're travelling to outer space too. What can we take with us? Can you draw a picture? So this time it's a more specific instruction, and asking if they can draw a picture to show us. Okay, and then here we've got Jude who's drawn a picture of his cat. And then next again we've got a voice recording, but this time it's not somebody speaking, it's a recording of a sound. This one was somebody then exploring the website that had been shared earlier on. So that's how we look at just one for an example. Okay, another one that I've used in a webinar recently this week. So it was the webinar that covered Microsoft Sway, and we were looking at Sway, which is a presentation storytelling tool. Again, that's a Microsoft tool, and we were looking at ways to use it as a learning story to make it interactive, but we were missing that two-way interaction, where we would normally have our floor books on the floor in nursery, and the children would be able to come and mark, make, and share their thoughts and everything. Can't do that just as easily this way. But if we had a Padlet then in our Sway, in our online learning story, that's given them the place to make that communication. So this one was just simply called Child's Voice, and it was just an empty space for any of the ideas, the thoughts, the suggestions to come out from the topic, and that would then help staff to determine what the next steps and the possible lines of development were going to be, so that the learning could continue even though the children weren't in the centre or you weren't able to see them. Okay, so let me see, there's a wee question there, wasn't there? Somebody looking for Padlet. If it doesn't show up for the very first time, so let's go back to the very beginning. If it doesn't show up for the very first time, you can go to padlet.com. But this is the way that I would look for it. So I would go in through Office 365. Now, if you don't have this tile on your Glow Launchpad, if you go to the empty tile that says Add, you click on that, and then it's App from Library. And I appreciate not everybody on here has Glow access at the moment, so if you just bear with us a wee second. App from Library, and then it's Office 365. You'd click on it, and then you would click Add to My Launchpad. Okay, so I've already got it, so it's going to remove it from mine if I do that. You would click Add to Launchpad, then back to your Launchpad, and it'll appear on your shortcuts here on your personal Launchpad. Okay, then once it opens up, go up here to the Home button. Oops, no I wouldn't. I would go up here, sorry, to my waffle. Apologies. And then I would go down to All Apps. And if it's not listed there yet, it might just be because you've never been on it before. Try explore all your apps, and if it doesn't come up, if you go to it manually, and then if you are creating an account with your Glow login, it'll then come up underneath all apps the next time you go back in. Okay, so when you land on the Padlet Launchpad, you've got a few different options here. You can make a Padlet, and now this is the free version of Padlet, so it actually only allows you to create 5 boards. But if you're in a centre and you have, you know, a number of different colleagues, then between you all, I'm sure you would be able to create enough boards for your needs in the nursery. You can, of course, when when you're finished with it, or that topic's finished, you can remove it, and then you can add another one on as well, and we'll come to that shortly. It also offers you to join a Padlet, but we don't need to worry about that. The gallery might be somewhere that's of interest to you, because then you can see all the other Padlets that have been made public. So these ones have been made public that everybody can access. So let's just have a look at some of them to show you the different layouts, because I've only showed you one layout. I have chosen the same layout for both of mine, but let's have a wee look. Let's just go into some random ones here just to give you a feel for how it looks. Okay, so this is a birthday board for somebody. So everybody that's had this link has been able to come on and leave a little birthday message for this person, and they've chosen the sort of block layout like this. Let's see, what about this one? Okay, so again, that's the block layout one. Let's have a look. Okay, so this one's a wee bit different layout on this one. It really depends on what you think would be most sort of visually pleasing for your learners. I really quite like the conversation layout that we looked at, and we'll look at more just in a wee second, because then you can scroll down and you can see the order of the conversation, and you know then when the practitioners came in at key points, and it just helps it get a wee bit more organised. Okay, and I'm just going to go back to the home start of Padlet there by clicking on Padlet there. Okay, up here on the right hand side you have your account details there as well. Don't need to worry too much about that at the moment. I've not really done anything with mine at all. It's given me that image and I've come in through Glow, so it's given me a username and I've not done anything else with that at the moment. Little question mark. Quite handy here. This is where you can go in and you can access video tutorials, so if you want to go through things again step by step, and I quite like to do that because I'm a really visual learner. I quite like to watch a bit of video and then I'll pause it and then I'll go and try it out, then I'll come back to the next bit and then I'll go back and try it out. Okay. And then also in here we've got the Padlet knowledge base, which gives you articles. So if you much prefer to read things, you can go in through that way and have a wee look at these documents that they've got in here, or these articles that can tell you a wee bit more about Padlet. So for now, I think what we'll do is we'll create one. So we'll do a little demo and you can see just how it all comes together. Okay, so here's the different layouts it can give you. Got a wall layout, a canvas layout, just checking the questions. Yes, you can remove comments, but I'm going to show you something else that avoids you even having to do that. You can put moderate comments on, so before anything comes through that's not appropriate, you don't have to accept it. Do our parents need to have Padlet as well in order for it to work? No, they don't, and they don't need to go to padlet.com. It's just when you share the link, they can access it. And I'll do a bit of demo and I'll open one as a parent on another browser, and I'll invite you to join it as well so you can see it. Okay, so wall, canvas, stream, grid, shelf, back channel, map, and timeline. And I like this back channel one because it's showing the communication as if you were in a chat environment. Okay, so it started off, it's given me this random background, but I know that that's not relevant, and I'm going to change that in a little minute. I'm going to call this Padlet Story of the Week. Can you please vote for your favourite story from this week and tell us why. What we typo in there? And tell us why you like it the best. Okay, and it's asking me about a little icon if I want to put in a little emoji, so I might just pop in that one. I quite like that one. Don't need to worry about that at the moment. How about the wallpaper? Yep, I'm not keen on that wallpaper. I could choose from the examples that it gives you in here, or I might want to add my own. So I'm going to add my own because I want to keep it relevant, and I want to keep the children, engaged and remembering that, this is something from nursery, but I've not been in my nursery for a wee while. What does it look like again? So I'm going to upload a file from my device. And I've got a photo here of one of my colleagues that I used to work with in the story corner. So thanks again, Lorna, for allowing me to use another one of your pictures. It's going to upload this as the background. Then I've got a few different options if I wanted to fill the screen or come appear as a tile, but I'm going to have it to fill the screen just now. I don't want to blur it. I'm quite happy with that the way it is, but you do have a few other options. You can draw if you use it's got a whiteboard feature if you want to draw a background, or you can take a photo. So if something you want to take an instant photo of to start that chat straight away, you can do that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to go back. Happy with that. Happy with the colour scheme. Font I'm not so happy with, so I'm going to change it to something that's a wee bit more early level friendly. So this one here probably looks a wee bit more like Comic Sans, so we'll change it to this one. Okay, so there's a few more settings here that I can check. Reactions. So do we want everybody that has access to this board to be able to react? Sometimes that can be quite a nice thing to do. So if we select the likes, we can react to other people's posts by giving it a like, and then a little love heart appears. If it's a vote, you can have, so that might be quite a good one for in here as well. You might want the vote button on where people can give the story the thumbs up and the thumbs down. But I think at this stage, likes probably the most appropriate one, because I wouldn't want anybody getting upset if somebody gave somebody's story suggestion the thumbs down. And then a few other options there. If you want to rate things and grade things, you can do that as well. Okay, so here's the important one here, content filtering. require a moderator to approve. I think that's probably always the safe bet. Although this isn't going to be a public board, if we've got young children with devices and they are, doing their whiteboard drawing or whatever, they could absolutely accidentally upload a photo and it might not be appropriate. And depending on your local authority policy or your setting policy and who you have permission for photographs, it would probably be the best bet to have the require approval on there. There's also the option to put on a profanity filter. Never does any harm to do it, but hopefully you wouldn't be coming across anything like that. And I would certainly be, if I was going to be introducing this, I would be accompanying it by a wee bit of guidance for my families as well, just so parents and carers were well aware of the purpose of it. It was for a place for the child's voice to come through. It's not a place for parent and carer voice to come through. I would make sure I had provided a form or a survey or an email inbox or even another Padlet for parents and carers, because then you don't want that taken away from the learning, and you don't also want, it might then become a place where families are maybe arranging walks to the park with other families and things. You want to keep it solely for the purpose that it was meant for. Then when I'm happy with my settings, I'm going to say next, and now I can start posting. So I'm going to put a little message on, but I would like to accompany it with a voice recording because we're thinking about our early level learners and not everybody's reading. So how are we going to make this accessible? We could add a voice recording. So over here at the three little dots, clicking on that pulls up all the different options that we have for posting. Options I have and options that whoever has the link has for sharing as well. Okay, who would we check if the app is GDPR approved? And local authority setting, and there is a central IT department. That would be who you would check with. So it would be your central IT department, your digital leader team, who might be also the information security officer for your local authority. If you double check with them, and they will be able to let you know if there has been a data protection impact assessment done, if it's okay to use. If not, I'm sure there'll be a process in which you can request new apps, but bear in mind it's a really lengthy process, so it might be a wee while before you can do that. Can you add QR codes? Yes, you can add QR codes, and you can share it via a QR code as well. Okay, I don't have Office 365 on my laptop at home. Is it accessible for me to use through Glow? Yeah, it's an online app, so you don't need to have Office 365 on your laptop at home. Although, we're just sidelining here now a wee bit, through Glow you can actually download the Office 365 apps onto your device at home as well. If you remind me at the end, I'll show you how to do that. There's a Glow tile that allows you to do that, so it allows you to have the offline apps on your devices at home, whether it be a Windows device, Android, iOS, so that you're able to work on things like Word and PowerPoint offline as well. Okay, so I'll just give the questions a wee break for now, and we'll get back to this. Okay, so I would like to upload a voice recording. Okay, now it's double checking have I got permission. I'm going to say yes. And then I'm going to click on the record button. Story of the week. Hello everybody, can you please let us know what your favourite story was from this week? You could draw a picture, record your voice, or send us a link. Okay, and it might be a link to, it could be a link to, something on YouTube or something that they have been engaging with at home. It might be you've already maybe sent out links to various sort of online video stories, and it might be that they're sending that back to show you that that's their favourite. So you want to give them quite a few different opportunities. It might also be a photo, depending again on your photography permission. The children don't need to necessarily be in the photo, it might be a photo of the book. And then I would give it a little title here, Story of the Week. Please vote by, and we'll just pop in, and that would be our further description. And it's just going to take a wee minute here to come onto our board. Lets you then double check it. You can then pop in, if you wanted, a wee bit more text here. That's no, like the best. Okay, and I'm sure you would be wording it much more creatively than this. And then we can post it. Okay, so you can see there it's got the wee option for it to be liked. I think what we'll do now is we'll test it out. So between ourselves and myself opening it on another tab or maybe on my phone here, let's see how it looks from the other end. But before we do that, there's a few things we need to check. So we're going to share it. We're not going to add members at this stage. That would be for contributors, you know, if you wanted another member of staff to work on it with you. What the important thing is just now, we want to look at is the privacy setting. Okay, so there's a few different settings here. You can keep it private, hidden from the public, but nobody would be able to see it, it would be only you. If you wanted, you could have it password protected. So once you share the link, they're then prompted to sign in via a password. That might be something that you wish to use, but then again, it might be that could be, you know, another barrier to being able to access it. If you want to keep it a secret, that's like when you post or upload a video onto YouTube and it's unlisted. It's only those with the link can access it. Or if it was on public, then absolutely everybody would be able to see it. It would come up on Google searches. People would be able to, you know, screenshot and, you know, capture things. So you might not want to put it on public. So I would choose the secret privacy status. And then it gives me another option here. What do I want people to do when they have the link? Do I want them to be able to read only? Do I want them to be able to write on it? Or do I want them to be able to edit it? So at this stage, I would be asking them just to be able to write on it. So they can view others' posts and they can add their own posts, but they can't edit it. And they can't approve others' posts or modify others' posts or delete others' posts or invite anybody else to join and collaborate with it. And that would be the most sensible option for us. If I wanted to share it with a member of staff, so if I wanted the rest of my team to be able to join on this, I could then invite them through the edit link there as well. So they would then become collaborators with this on me with the same rights as me. But for the purpose of this one, we just want them to be able to write on it. Okay, so we'll go back. So here's the various ways that we can share. We have this big long link here that we can copy to the clipboard. So I've copied it and I'm just going to go into this team meeting and I'm going to paste it now in here for you. So if you go up to, if you can see the little conversation, the speech bubble on your screen, if you click on that, you're then going to see this link, and if you click on the link, that's going to bring you to the Padlet, and you can have a wee go, pretend if you like that you're one of the young learners in this setting, and have a wee go at voting for your favourite story. Just any story at all, because I've not put up a list. If you have a smartphone or a device that can scan QR codes to hand, feel free to scan the code and you can come into it that way, and that's just what I'm about to do on my phone. And I'm going to join it that way too. Just leave that there for a wee minute. Okay. So I've now got access to the Padlet and I can post. Now a couple of more options it gives you here. You can embed it into your blog or your website. Great, you can see them all coming through in live time here on my screen, but I need to approve them all before anybody can see them. So with an embed code, that it's a longer code, and instead of clicking on a link and then taking you to the Padlet here in a new tab, what it does, it embeds it nicely for you into if you've got a blog or a sway. So I'm just going to nip over now to one of the sways just to show you what that looks like. So while you're all able to vote for your story, I'm going to nip over here into sway. I think it was maybe this one. This is one of my demo sways from the other day. Hoping it's this one. Just to show you what it looks like when it has been embedded. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, so this was one of our sway learning stories that we used in our wee demo. Oh, was it ThingLink that I embedded? Maybe it was. No, it wasn't that one. Back a wee second. Must have been this one. Here we go. So when it's embedded, it puts it into the body of the site that you're on, whether it's a blog or a sway like this one here. Here we go. So this one was the example, this was the child's voice one, the circle time blether. So that embeds it nicely there, and it means you don't need an additional link. You know, you've already got the link for the sway, your interactive learning stories here. You don't then need to go off via another link to access the Padlet. It puts it all in here for you, and then you can upload straight away from here. You just need to make sure. I got stuck with this the other day. I couldn't find all the options. I just had to make sure I had scrolled along so that I could reach the drop down arrow. So there we go. And then it pops it in straight away. This one doesn't have the moderator on, so that one's going to go in straight away. So there you can see how the response can then be sent in real time. And if you had maybe had a set time of the day that you were offering, you know, to have a bit of chat, to have a bit of communication, then that would be a really nice place to see all these comments coming in real time. Where were we? What was our board called? There it is. Is it this one? I've lost our story now. There it is. I have to just refresh my screen there. I've got too many tabs open, I think. Okay, so now I've got all these comments coming through, and I need to approve them all. Okay, approve, 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 approve. And now you should all be able to see everybody else's comments as well. So now that I've approved them, you should be able to see them, and you can, if you agree and you like that story, you can give it a wee like as well. Go and we've got a picture of Laura's star. Great, and we've got some drawings. Okay, so I think that's about some more, yeah, and then we've got a link here. Great. So we've got a whole variety coming in here, and obviously, like with anything else, oops, stop my mouse there. The children would need a wee bit of support to be able to access this. But once they're in there, and you know they have the whiteboard open or the voice record or whatever it is, whatever they choose to use. My mouse keeps getting stuck. They would then be able to share their thoughts, their views, their opinions, whatever it is that they want to talk about and share. Okay, so there's a few other options here that we wanted to look at. You can directly email if you wanted to email the link, if that's what you already do, but it would probably be quicker to copy and paste and put it out from the copy link to clipboard option. And then there's a couple of other options there for sharing onto social media and Google Classroom. You can also then, if you want to export this later on for your records, You're able to save it as an image, save it as a PDF, and then there's the other options as well for the text-based data. What I would probably do at this stage is I would probably, with your pictures and your comments, I would probably take screenshots and then I would copy and paste them maybe into the sway if it was a sway I was using, and you know, just for, you know, another place that all our you know, like all the small parts of the jigsaw puzzle, and it shows the progression and it shows, you know, where the ideas have came from and how, you know, it's evolved over time, and, you know, how did we get to this story from that story, what was the discussion, where did we go in between. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to show you about this. Now there was in the settings. Is it in our settings? Nope. Where is it again? Yes, so here. Is it here? Bit about the anonymous. Where is that? So we have it on anonymous anyway, because of the way that we've shared it. So it's always going to show when they post a comment, it's always going to say anonymous because we've not set it up any other way. But it would probably be, I think I said at the first Padlet, good practice to ask parent or carer or the child if they could pop on an initial or just even their first name, just so you can kind of keep track of who's posted what. Can you shrink down the post? So you would be going to your window and zooming it down that way to make it a wee bit more to see, you know, how many you've got on it. But I think what I would probably do is I would screenshot wee chunks of it. But let's have a wee look at exporting it via PDF, and let's see how much more manageable it looks, or how much more easy it is to read. But bear in mind, when you do that, you're not going to then have, you know, the interactive elements. You can't then hear a voice recording or watch a video or anything. Okay, so let's save it as a PDF. Portrait A4, publish. Okay, so it's not given us the image from the back, but it's popped it onto A4 sheets for us, and it's let us see who's commented, what their comments were, and if they have drawn a picture or if they have put in a link or uploaded a photo, which is really quite handy. It also shows you there that there's a voice recording, and because it's a PDF, it has actually kept the link. So story of the you can then see it. But of course, if you were printing it out, if you wanted a hard copy, you would lose that, like I mentioned earlier. So that might be a more manageable way for you. Let's have a look at saving it as an image. It's particularly useful as well if you're having to delete Padlets to make more. You've then got the backup, you've got the copy of it. Yes, this will be on YouTube, Mrs. Young. We're going to have a day of uploading our videos, and by this time next week, the videos from this week, or probably earlier, will all be available. A photo, not as great. It gives you, I suppose, the whole view, doesn't it? But it's not very effective. You would have to really zoom in to be able to read the comments. So I think probably the PDF would be the best way to download it if that's what you were going to do. Okay, so there's a few places that we can go for Padlet support, and I have copied the links in on this one. Okay, so I'm going to copy those links into the chat, but what we'll do as well, when we upload our video recording of the webinar and it gets uploaded to digilearn.scot, which is our blog, our national blog, where you can access all the webinars, but also the webinar recordings, and we've got a page in there for the webinar recordings. So when we upload the video, I'll also upload the relevant links that went along with the webinar as well, so that you've got them you know, for future professional development time when you do manage to get some of that. Thank you for watching our webinar recording. We hope you have enjoyed it and found it useful.